Welcome to the Mountain Valor podcast. Our guest today is the Buddy Check 22 coordinator, Ted Veggenburg. Ted began his career in the Navy as a naval nuclear power electrician's mate before receiving an appointment to the United States Naval Academy at Annapolis, Maryland. Upon graduation, Ted served in the Marine Corps as a combat engineer officer, and he served at Camp Pendleton as a platoon commander, the Naval Academy as a history professor, G3 plans officer for 3rd Force Service Support Group, as a company commander and S3 operations at 9th Engineer Support Battalion in Okinawa, Japan. During his tour, he made numerous deployments through the Pacific Theater that included India, mainland Japan, Korea, Philippines, Thailand, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka in support of the tsunami relief effort of Operation United Assistance. He served as the commanding officer of the 9th Engineer Support Battalion Forward in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom in Al-Anbar Province, Iraq, where he was awarded the Bronze Star Medal. He earned a second master's degree from the Marine Corps Command Staff College and served as a tactics and leadership instructor at the Expeditionary Warfare School. His final tour was at the Pentagon, where he served on the staff of the Chief of Naval Operations OPNAV N95 Expeditionary Warfare. He retired from the Marine Corps at the rank of Lieutenant Colonel and moved to Pilot, Virginia. He currently serves as an officer in the Marine Corps League New River Valley Detachment number 1190, is the coordinator of the Buddy Check 22 program for veteran suicide prevention, and is the president of the Pilot Community Center. Welcome, Ted. Glad to have you on the Mountain Valor podcast today.
Thanks a lot, Nick. I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. So let's get started. Ted, give us a short version of your journey from enlisting in the Navy in the late 80s to retiring as a Marine Corps Lieutenant Colonel. What were the big turning points for you?
Yeah, it was kind of a long journey. Thank you. I appreciate the bio, but it's a lot mouthful. After 26 years, there's a lot of stuff that happened in there, and yeah, I mean, I enlisted in the Navy. I can't say my recruiter lied to me. I just didn't ask any good questions, kind of thing, and ended up in the Navy and said, okay, sounds good. I would love to say it was some great, born on the 4th of July, patriotic kid, but I didn't have any money for college. And it was very transactional for me at that point in my life. Like, I'll give up a few years to the military, I'll get the GI Bill, and I'll be able to go on to college. And then somewhere along the line, all that kind of changed. I mean, you just, you get to feel the life, you feel, you join, and maybe you had a little bit of success, and people tell you you're okay at this and maybe you should stick around. And so it just kind of went from one step to another. I remember at one point, one of my mentors talked to me when I was enlisted about, well, have you ever thought about going to the Naval Academy? And I thought, well, yeah, I thought about being president once too, but it didn't really seem very realistic. But so, yeah, then I put in a package and got accepted, and kind of a lot of things went from there. And ran into a lot of great Marines at the Naval Academy, and kind of my whole perspective kind of changed. Felt like I wanted to be a warrior, felt like I wanted to be really challenged, and so I switched over to the Marine Corps, and certainly never regretted it, and loved everything I was able to do. I can't believe I never set out to do it as a career. I thought, well, I really enjoyed my history undergrad career. I thought, well, I'll go to grad school, I'll get a master's degree in history. I knew the payback tour was to go back to the Naval Academy and be a history professor. I thought, I mean, what a dream job. Are you kidding me? That's what a wonderful opportunity. And then I thought maybe I'll just get out and go be a history professor somewhere, and that'll be my career. And then 9/11 happened, and of course everything changes from there. And
Yep.
You're starting to tell these young kids that want to grow up and do great things, and you tell them how great the Marine Corps is, and at some point you can't help but listen. And so, yeah, I stayed in and just loved it, really did. And then probably, the big turning point was finally at the age of 35, being able to put on your game jersey and actually go to combat. And that was, it was very late in my career. I was a I was a major at the time, and that of course changed a lot for me. But it was a great career. I'm very grateful for all the things that I was able to do. I can't believe all the cool stuff the Marine Corps let me do. There were certainly hard days, but I worked with and served with fantastic people, and feel very lucky to have had that opportunity.
Yeah, well, and Ted, I know you are very humble because you were a Navy nuke, and Navy nuke guys, all the ones that I know are really smart. And obviously you were smart enough because you got an appointment to the Naval Academy. So, I don't know why try to act like, hey, this wasn't a big deal. I mean, what you did some really cool things, and you ought to be very proud. Thank you for your service, by the way. I mean, thank you for your service.
And thank you for yours. Yeah, I mean, it was. I kind of never really thought I would end up there. I mean, but an opportunity came up, and you do well, and people say, hey, maybe you should think about doing this,
Yeah.
and then you take one step, and then you think, well, I didn't completely fall on my face there, so well, let me take another step, and then before you know it, you're a lieutenant colonel, and you're old and gray and probably a little bit overweight, and it's probably time to get out. So yeah, it was great though. I loved it, and just I mean, the deal. Trying to live up to the expectations of all those great Marines that serve underneath you and you serve with, and they compel you to achieve at a high level, because the last thing you want to do is disappoint them. So
yeah,
that's all very humbling.
Yeah, that's no doubt about that. I mean, I understand exactly what you're talking about because I experienced that quite a bit as well. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
all those great people around you. You just think, well, and they're calling you sir, like really, and you think, I've got to execute. I have got to be at the very top of my game. Like it's the least I can do to be part of this team.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Was there a moment in your career, maybe in Iraq or Okinawa, that changed how you think about taking care of Marines and sailors after they leave active duty?
Yeah, while I was on active duty, I don't think I thought really after active duty at all. I think I was completely consumed in the moment, 6 inches in front of my face. I would say I've always been kind of soft-hearted. I think I was I was a pretty soft-hearted kid. I think I like to think I've been pretty compassionate. I'm a pretty passionate guy. I'm quick to anger. I'm quick to tears. I'm a passionate guy, and like a lot of other people, you just care. And but definitely losing Marines in combat definitely changed my outlook. If you'll allow me just to name the Marines that I lost in my battalion, and actually 5 Marines and 1 sailor. Gunnery Sergeant Justin Martoni was an EOD tech. Lance Corporal Juana Navarro Ariano, she was a bulk fueler who we turned into our security platoon. She was shot by a sniper. Sergeant Justin Noyes was another EOD tech that got blown up by an IED. Petty Officer Jerry Tharp was a CB that was attached to us doing route repair and route clearance missions, and unfortunately he got blown up by an IED. And Sergeant John Phillips was with Gunny Martoni when he got blown up back in 2006 of March of 2006, and it was 6 months later that he succumbed to his burn wounds and eventually passed. And then Staff Sergeant Dwayne Williams was another one of ours, EOD techs. So 4 EOD techs, 1 bulk fueler, and a Navy CB. It was a tough deployment. It was 2006. We were in between Fallujah and Ramadi. That was about next to Operation Al Fajr. In 2004, the clearing of Fallujah. That was probably the worst place to be in Iraq at the absolute worst time to be in Iraq. And so it was a rough deployment, but it was still, of course, still very much in contact with the Marines I served with, and we felt like we had gone there and won the Super Bowl despite those casualties. We felt like we'd done a really good job, but I would be remiss not to mention them.
Yeah, well, and I appreciate that because, we should never forget those who wrote the ultimate check, with their life. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I would say for after, life after the Marine Corps, I think the thing that's really impacted me that tried to get me involved in buddy check stuff was I've lost 6 other friends and Marines after combat since then, since I've gotten out. I lost a good friend of mine, Chris Kennedy, Major Chris Kennedy, took his own life in 2007. One of my Marines, Sergeant Brandon Ketchum, 2016, he took his own life. A buddy of mine from the Naval Academy Prep School, Midshipman Fidel Torres, later on in life, he took his own life. Our class, Captain Spencer Abbott, he was a Navy captain, 06. He took his life in 2017. Another John Phillips from our battalion, Corporal John Phillips, part of the security platoon, he took his own life. And Corporal David Kuhn, he also attended his funeral just last year. So there's been 6 more since then. And when I got involved and started getting involved in the buddy check stuff in 2016, I had only I'd lost Chris Kennedy as a friend, and little did I know what was yet to come.
Right.
When I got involved in that. But yeah, so it's been, we've all lost a lot of people. But yeah, I think if you're a kind, caring, compassionate person, I think it's pretty hard to not get involved, not do something, not feel like you should, you got to roll the plane somehow.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about Buddy Check 22.
Sure.
What is it? How did it start? Et cetera. And what are what's Buddy Check 22 look like in the NRV or in this area?
Yeah. So Buddy Check 22 started. I mean, most veterans know the whole Department of Veteran Affairs study in 2013 that said 22 veterans are taking their lives every day. So that number 22 is taken on this mythical, symbolism of veteran suicide prevention. And so that study came out. And then there was in 2015, I think it was 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, Marine Sergeant Austin Noble, he took his own life. And a bunch of the Marines from his battalion showed up at the funeral and got together. And one of those Marines that was at the funeral, Zachary Zeigel, he then started a Facebook page calling it Buddy Check 22 and encouraging other Marines to check on each other, all veterans, to check on each other on the 22nd of each month, using that symbolism of 22. On the 22nd, call and check on your buddies. Like, do a buddy check. Just, hey, how are you doing? Are you doing okay? Are you struggling with anything? And just letting them know, like, essentially, I care about you and I want you here. And if you're struggling, please let me know. And so that was kind of where that all started with the buddy checks. There was a New York Times article that the New York Times ran an article on that, I think in April of 2016. And then it just kind of caught wildfire. It had been in the veteran underground for about 6-8 months prior to that.
Okay.
But then once the New York Times ran an article on it, it had really caught fire. And so I had heard about it in January of 2016. Our Marine Corps League detachment was struggling. Membership was dwindling. We couldn't hardly get people to show up for meetings. I actually wasn't a member of the organization at that point. I had come to a meeting, but it didn't really resonate with me for lots of reasons. And so they put out the commandant, the head of our detachment, put out an email and said, look, we're having a come to Jesus meeting. Like, come to the meeting. We can't even get enough people at the meetings to vote on officers. And so come to the meeting. And if you don't, we're going to shut down the detachments. We're going to roll up the flag and that's it. Yep. And so I came to that meeting and I had been thinking about this buddy check thing. And I came to the meeting and I said, look, I'm going to, we had a lot of people show up and, sometimes you just got to, crack the whip on people and all of a sudden, now they all care. Right. And so, and I was one of those. So I came to the meeting and at the end of the meeting, I said, look, I've heard about this thing, people talking about calling each other on the 22nd. And I said, look, I'm going to go to McAdoo's on the 22nd. And I think we should do this buddy check thing. And I think we should just have a social, and I'm going to be there and I'm going to drink a beer and whoever wants to join me can join me. And we had, I don't know, a good 8, 10, 12 people, the Marines show up from the detachment. And and it was great. And that's where it all started. January of 2016 is when we started. We messed around and we thought, well, let's do this and let's bounce it around, and we'll go to a different location every month so it's not just all based in Radford or wherever. And we did that for a year, and that failed miserably because no one knew where we were going to be.
Yeah,
we
that's exactly
work up, and we thought we were just too tricky. We got too tricky about it.
Yeah.
And so then we finally, planted our flag at McAdoo's in Radford, and we've been meeting there ever since. McAdoo's have been fantastic sponsors for us. They somewhere, I think it was around maybe 2018, 19, somewhere around, I think it was 19. They then started offering a 50% discount to everyone that joined, and that really got people out there, and that was really, really helpful. So that gets people there, and then it's a matter of, okay, so what do you do when you're there? And we toyed around with a lot of things. At the beginning, we kind of didn't talk a lot about veteran suicide. The idea was, hey, one, our unit needed a mission, and that really helped our unit. I really had cared about the cause because I had lost Chris Kennedy, and I knew other people had lost people as well. I had no idea how bad it was going to get. Again, it seemed like once a year or multiple times a year, I was losing people and we've all been there, unfortunately. But so we started doing that. We met, but it was a matter of like, how do you organize this event and how do you make it? You don't want it depressing like group therapy. I mean, if people want to go to group therapy, they'll go to group therapy.
Right.
You can't just sit around and slug back a bunch of beer and
you can
risk getting DUIs on the way home, and then, well, that's not it either, So we toyed around with a few things, and we thought, well, basically, let's just have a social event where guys just, guys and gals and veterans and their spouses, and the spouses are a key thing. The girlfriend, spouses, family members, whoever, because sometimes, somebody's wife will come talk to my wife and say, hey, will you have Ted come talk to my husband because he's struggling, whether he'll admit it or not, he's struggling. So that's very key to get the significant others involved in the process. And so we've done that. And so, we basically, it's a social event, but we pause in the middle, 5 or 10 minutes. Let's remind everyone why we're there. Let's take down any barriers or stigma associated with suicide, and let's make it a thing that we can talk about.
Right.
Again, we don't need to drill down, and we don't need to sit around and everyone pick their scabs. I mean, we just want to, we want to have an event that people will want to come to.
Right.
And it's typical veteran stuff. You're going to sit around, you're going to bust each other's chops. Everybody's going to tell lies about what they did and what it's
fish was that big.
So it's a good time, and then but you got to slip that in as, Dave, let's just not forget why we're here.
And I've been to a couple, and there's a crowd there. It's not, the VFW post here in Floyd is struggling. It's the same thing you were talking about the Marine Corps League. People weren't showing up. Plenty of veterans here, plenty of veterans of foreign wars, but same kind of thing. But the several Buddy Check 22 events I went to, it was packed. I mean, there were a lot of veterans there, and that's a good thing. That's a really good thing.
We've grown from, again, there were times when it was like a handful of people. And we always said, look, if 2 veterans show up and one of them really needed to talk to somebody, then it's a successful event.
Yeah.
And the fact that we've grown from a handful of people to, and it's ebbed and flowed, and certainly through COVID and all that, to sometimes, I mean, it's standing room only, where we've had, 50, I think our high is like 57 people we've had, where patios completely stacked full, all the couches, everything's filled, every table's filled, and you've got people standing, hanging out. And that's, those are good problems to have. They still kind of become problems at some point, but it's, I'm amazed at how successful it's become, because I was hopeful, but I didn't necessarily anticipate that. I thought, well, we'll see how it goes. But it's become very successful, and You
Yeah.
know, and we've had people that have come for a few years and then drift away, and then sometimes they come back. And we've had people drift away who've moved away and they've started their own buddy check where they
Oh,
live. We've had
yeah,
a couple.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really
And
cool.
that's probably the biggest message I would want to get out is one, super easy to set up, unbelievably easy. Because we don't have a lot of funding. We buy T-shirts and we give the T-shirts away.
Yeah, and so where are you getting fun? Where are you getting the money to buy the T-shirts? Because I know every time I've been one, there's hey, you need a T-shirt? Sure, I'll take
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Atmos Energy is
Oh,
donates the cost of the
okay.
T-shirts,
Oh,
which
that's
ends up being
really cool.
somewhere around six, 800, maybe $1,000, but six, eight, probably $800 a year or something like that. I don't
Okay.
know. We get T-shirts once a year, once every other year, something like that.
Yeah.
So if you can find a place that will be a good host, um, and and then you can get them to give you a discount just to get people in the door. Like you got to have a little bit of a hook to get them there.
Right.
And then just kind of if you build it, they will come. And if you're able to walk that line between hey, having a good event where it's a good time and people want to come, and if you can get a little bit of a discount and people show up, and then you can just remind people, they'll come back. And I think that's the thing. It's not inoculation. It's not like, oh, so I went to a buddy check. I'm good. I don't need to
I'm
come
good.
again.
I'm good for the next year. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like your
Oh,
flu
now
shot.
I'm good for 10 years. Right.
Yeah, it's I think the magic is, people over time. It's very gradual because veterans, we're all guarded. We're all more, a lot of
Yeah.
us are jerks. We it takes us a while to warm up to people or whatever,
Yeah.
and I think over time people get to know people. We've since then we've adopted a roster. We have a Facebook page where people can get in touch with each other, so people can reach out. And but I think it's over time that people know one, you've taken the stigma off the conversation, and then two, if people know that if they're in a dark place, they know that they do know somebody that they can call that will get it, that will understand what
Yeah.
they've done, where they've been, what they've come
Yeah.
through, and maybe where they're at now. And there's not going to be all that stigma. And I think that's the key. What's blown my mind is that, you know, talk about metrics or whatever, measurements of success. And since we've been doing it since 2016, so we've just hit over 10 years. I've had 6 veterans come up to me personally and tell me, Ted, if it wasn't for the buddy chicks, I wouldn't be here today.
Oh, wow.
And if that was one, we would keep doing it.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's 6 is really is mind-boggling to me. It's very humbling. I feels like that we're doing the right thing. We're not solving all the world's problems, but like right here, right now, in our little corner, I feel like we're doing some good stuff, and that is and that makes everyone involved feel really good and proud about what we've accomplished.
Right. And I got to hand it to you. Like I said, I've been to a lot of different veteran events in Floyd County, and nobody packs them in like Buddy Check 22 does.
Yeah,
Nobody's been close.
yeah.
The elementary schools do their Veterans Day, program, and there's a couple of veterans there, but like I said, the couple of times that I went to McAdoo's, and then you also did in Christiansburg at can't think of the place, the veteran
Mission Barbecue.
Mission Barbecue, and it was even there. It was packed, and the amount of events that I've been to in Floyd County, other than like a festival, like the Mountain Valor Festival, but just like a one, like an evening event or a day event, never seen as many veterans as I've seen at Buddy Check. So that's a true testament to that's something that's very important, right? That's very.
Thank you. Yeah, we're our little Marine Corps League detachment. And again, as you know, all veterans are welcome. First responders are welcome, spouses, friends, people who have no connection. If you care about veteran suicide prevention and you want to show up and be part of it, come one, come all. We are very welcoming.
Cool.
And that's been nice. again, there have been times where you think, oh gosh, am I still doing this? Is this, are we beating our head against the wall? We've had the discussions about, does talking about it actually hurt? Like, are we normalizing something that we shouldn't normalize? We've had those kind of discussions and debates, and I think those are worthwhile discussions. We've read through books and stuff like that, but it's been very successful, and I think it's the simplicity that makes it. Like,
Right. Yeah.
veterans don't come expecting a handout. It's not, oh well, somebody's going to buy my meal and I'm showing up and this is a free meal. And oh, by the way, because then you got to worry about fundraising and things like that as well. And
Right.
we have very little fundraising. We've been very fortunate to have McAdoo's as a great sponsor and Atmos Energy as a great sponsor for the t-shirts.
Yeah.
We have coins now. People buy the coins. We say, look, the coins cost $5 to make. Buy it for $5. We're not trying to make any money off this.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm very impressed with what Buddy Check 22 has been able to do, because I've really not seen any other veteran oriented organization in this area that has the success you have. And like you said, the simplicity of it is amazing. And I agree with you. Most veterans, I mean, sure, on Veterans Day, I always think of, hey, I'm going to go get I'm going to go get a burger somewhere for free. And then I'm like, oh, that means I got to get in my car and I got to drive there. And then I got to, and there's going to be 40 other veterans trying to do the same thing I'm doing. And I'm not really all that interested. And I talk myself out of it. But going to Buddy Check, where it's like, hey, you're not really getting anything for free, but you're having the ability to commune with other veterans, and probably in some cases veterans that you don't know. And now you can, now there's that there's that brotherhood that otherwise you wouldn't even know those folks were veterans. So I think that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the simplicity, and again, we're very grateful to our sponsors, but I just but we have people who've stuck with it, and one of the things, when I talk to people about it, and they say, yeah, no thanks, I invite people out and they say, yeah, no thanks, I'm good, and then I kind of turn it back on them and I say, just like when you were in, maybe it's not about you.
Yeah.
Maybe it's about you showing up for somebody else, and maybe somebody else isn't okay. And that sense of service, that sense of taking care of each other, that camaraderie of, hey, I feel like I'm fine. I'm not, I'm not on the edge, but there might be somebody there that is, and maybe just sitting next to them. We all sit in different places all the time. That helps. It just mixes the pot every time. And I think it's so appealing to that sense of duty to your fellow servicemen, I think helps as well. But yeah, I think it's just simple. And that's why I would hope. I look back and I think, gosh, now that we've cracked the code on it, at least we like to think we have.
10 years. You've been doing it for 10 years, right?
Yeah. Wow. I mean, it's like, I just would love to see other people just copy and paste. Like, it's super simple.
Right. Yeah.
Find a good sponsor, find a place. You got to have the actual like geographic layout space. Like, so McAdoo's gives us basically the whole outdoor patio just to us, which is wonderful. They also give us during the winter an inside section, and they block it off just for us. Right. They've been fantastic sponsors for us, and we are very grateful to them. But and once you find that, then again, it starts with 4 or 5 or 10, and before you know it, it's big.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. I want to switch gears just a little bit. From your vantage point, why is it so hard for many veterans, especially leaders? You're a retired lieutenant colonel.
Yeah.
To admit that they're struggling and ask for help.
Yeah. Well, as you well know, we're all hard-headed. We're very stubborn. We're very independently minded. We dedicate our whole lives to serving other people. Especially as leaders, you think that. And to actually have to then admit, like, hey, my job's to help others. It's not about me. I got to help other people. I got to take care of my troops. I got to do all that. And to just admit, to be like, man, I'm struggling. Like, this is hard. And I think that's part of taking that stigma away. I have a good friend of mine who is an independent contractor for Wounded Warrior Project, and he has talked to me many times. He was a staff sergeant and got out, and he's talked to me many times about when he's gone around trying to help other Marines. He said many times, he's like, you, especially you senior officers, he's like, you guys are so reluctant. It's so hard to reach you. It's so hard to get plugged in and to give you the help that you need because people are struggling, but they're just so reluctant. And he does say that we're the demographic that's hardest to reach and hardest to get to read, to just really connect with. And fair enough. So he and I've spent a lot of time together, and it's great to know him and have him as a friend. But because he does great work. But I do think it is that paradigm of selfless service that we all know so well, and we all know that even when you're struggling, when you were on active duty and you were deployed or you were doing this, like you better fake it till you make it. You better not let anybody, especially your troops, see any chink in your armor. Like they're expecting high things from you and you better produce. And it's hard to take that armor off when we get out to be like, it's okay. I mean, I talk to Marines, Lance corporals and corporals that I served with, that I deployed to Iraq with now. And, of course, they always want to call me, oh, yes, sir, yes, sir. I'm like, dude, do not call me sir. Nobody calls me sir anymore. My name's Ted. And
when people call me sir, I say, yeah, it's my dad. So let's bring this down to reality. But I agree with you. In the military, yes, especially in a leadership position, you're not going to go to your boss and say, hey, I need help. And you're certainly not going to turn to your troops and say, I mean, I've said, in a staff meeting, I was a colonel, it's like, hey guys, if you think I'm the smartest guy in here, we're in trouble. Right.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I would never go and say, hey, to a subordinate, hey, I'm struggling and I really need help, because that's just not part of the persona, right? So that makes a lot of sense. Where leaders probably struggle the most because they're so closed and they're not used to asking for help.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. Wow.
And you think about all those people that I listed that have taken their own lives. There's a Navy captain in there in 06.
Yeah.
There's a Marine major in there. I mean, you've got some senior officers that just struggled and felt like they had no other way out than that.
Yeah. That's
tragic.
Absolutely. Yeah. If a veteran or a family member listening wanted to plug into Buddy Check 22, what's the first best step they can take?
Yeah, I think our Facebook page is probably the easiest way to reach us. So it's Buddy Check 22 New River Valley.
Okay.
So Buddy Check 22 New River Valley, Google it, plug it into Facebook, whatever. And then you can message on the board and you can get to us. You could also visit the Marine Corps League, our detachment's website, which is Marine Corps League New River Valley. If you Google that, we have both a Facebook page and a website, and then you can message us directly as well. Either of those ways, Buddy Check 22 New River Valley or Marine Corps League Detachment 1190 New River Valley. Either of those would reach us. We would love to get you plugged in. I would love to be able, and I have done it so far. There for a second. Okay, are we back? I think
we're back.
Glitched there for a second. We had one of our members that went up to Denton, up in Roanoke, and he started one. And we had one of our members that moved to Tennessee, and he started one.
Nice.
And I don't know the current status of how they're doing. And of course, we branched out to Christiansburg as well. Some of those they've ebbed and flowed, just like ours did at several times. But it's so easy to start. I think bang for buck, I think it's a fantastic program. And the reality is it's a good time. It's not depressing. It's not, oh, I got to go do the buddy check. It's a good time. Like, hey, I'm going to go hang out with a bunch of veterans.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'm going to get a discount on a meal or whatever. If I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. I'm going to drink a couple beers. I'm going to drink a Coke, whatever, and hang out. It's a good time. These are, I feel like sometimes you just need to be around your own kind,
Yeah.
and an opportunity to do that.
Yeah. And so the 22nd, this 22nd,
Yeah.
Radford, Christiansburg, definitely you can go to McAdoo's or to, man, I just blanked on, where's the place in Christiansburg again?
Yeah, it's Mission Barbecue, and I think their numbers are pretty small right now, unfortunately. But again, I think the one in Christiansburg, their geographic space, I don't think they've been able to carve them out of space as well as I would have
Yeah,
hoped.
the layout at Mission Barbecue is a little bit more complex.
Yeah,
A group type of a meeting there, just because it's all individual, very individual seating. So interesting. Okay.
Every month on the 22nd at 6 o'clock at both locations, there are veterans there for Buddy Check 22, and just show up, hang out, find the guys that have the Buddy Check 22 shirts on or some veteran gear on. That'll be us, and come in and sit down next to somebody. We'll welcome you, and have a good time.
Excellent. Before we wrap, what's
Yeah.
one thing you want every listener to do in the next 24 hours for a veteran in their life?
Conduct a buddy check with them. Just call them and see how they're doing. And again, you don't have to ask them like, hey, are you okay? Are you suicidal? Unless you think they might be, then you would want to ask those questions.
Yeah.
But just ask them how they're doing. Let them know that you care. And I think one of the hard parts about having those conversations, a lot of us at the Buddy Checks have gone through what's called gatekeeper training, which is very basic rudimentary training. And it's basic. I think it's an acronym even Marines can remember. It's QPR: question, persuade, refer. So basically, the whole training is ask somebody if you feel like somebody's in danger, ask them the question, and that's the hardest part.
Right.
Question: are you thinking of hurting yourself? Are you doing all right? Because I'm getting indications that I'm concerned that you're not going to keep yourself safe.
Right.
So you ask the question. You persuade them not to do it. Please don't. I care about you. You're important in my life. There are people who love you. Please don't do that. And now let me refer you to people who can pick up the ball from here. And,
right.
and of course, call the veteran suicide prevention line 988. So those are the things. The QPR training: question, persuade, refer. Basic essence, but yes. Check on your veterans, make sure they're doing okay, and if you're in the local area, invite them out, bring them out to the Buddy Check. We would love to meet them and hang out with them.
Yeah, well, hey, I do appreciate that, because very important message, and it's also very easy to execute.
Yeah,
right? It doesn't take much to just reach out to people that you know and you love and say, hey, exactly what you said. So I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Ted, it's been a pleasure chatting with you today. For those of you watching this podcast, I hope you've received some pearls of wisdom, and I hope you will join me for the next Mountain Valor podcast coming soon. At Mountain Valor, we believe that rural should never mean underserved. Whether you're a veteran looking for the benefits you earned, a neighbor wanting to volunteer your time, or a donor ready to fund our next mission in the hills of Virginia, or even a partner organization, there's a place for you on our team. Visit mountainvalor.org today to donate, join our mission, or get the support your family deserves. Together, we can build the system that our rural veterans have always earned but never had. That's Mountain Valor. And Ted, for Buddy Check 22, very important mission that you're doing. And I just want to say my hat's off to you for doing this, because extremely, extremely important.
Thank you, Nick. I appreciate you. And I appreciate all that you and Kat and everyone involved with Mountain Valor does. You all have made a huge impact in our rural community, and it is greatly appreciated. It's an important mission, and we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.